The mist returned the next night, thicker than before. Trees stood like shadows in a sea of fog. Ravi sat beside his fire again, waiting. His eyes were tired. But he didn't want to miss her Alarin, the strange glowing woman who called herself the last of the moon-born. He had questions. So many questions. He had left another meal by the fire, just like before. Some dried fruit and a water pouch. He didn't know if she needed food or water. But she had taken it last time. Time passed slowly. Ours felt like days. Then he saw her again. Alarin stepped out from behind a tree, her robe floating as if held by wind. She moved quietly, with grace, like she was part of the forest. She looked at the fire, then at the food, and then directly at Ravi. "You waited," she said. Ravi nodded. "I wanted to see you again." She stepped closer, but stayed just outside the circle of firelight. Her silver skin shimmered like moonlight on water. "Why?" she asked. Ravi shrugged. "You're the only living being I've seen here. And you speak. That's enough." Alarin studied him with her glowing eyes. "Most would fear me." "I'm not most," Ravi said simply. She seemed to smile, but only for a second. Then she sat down across the fire from him. For a while, they said nothing. The fire crackled between them. The mist swirled. Strange bird-like calls echoed from the forest, but neither moved. Finally, Ravi broke the silence. "Where are we?" Alarin looked at the sky. "This moon is called Varanine by your people. We call it Nalith. It was once full of life. You said you're the last of your kind." She nodded slowly. "Long ago, the moonborn lived across many stars. We were seekers of knowledge, of peace. But then the swarm came. Swarm." Alarin's face became serious. "A hunger without reason, creatures of darkness and cold. They do not speak. They do not stop. They take all." Ravi felt a chill, and it wasn't from the mist. "My ship, it was fleeing them. It broke during escape. I fell here, alone." "How long ago?" he asked. "I do not count anymore." She said softly, "It has been many of your years." Ravi leaned forward. "You survived here, all this time, alone." She nodded. "This forest hides me. The crystals in the mist confuse machines. That is why you crashed." Ravi blinked. "So, the forest brought me here, in a way, yes?" Alarin looked at him. "You're kind humans. You are builders. Fast to grow, quick to fight. We're not all like that." Ravi said. She looked away. "Maybe. You're the first I've spoken to." He smiled. "And you're the first alien I've had dinner with." She raised an eyebrow. "Is that what this is? Dinner?" Ravi laughed. "Sort of." She smiled too, and this time it stayed. As the fire burned lower, Ravi pulled out a small device from his pocket. It was a photo screen, cracked from the crash. He showed it to her. "This is Earth." She looked closely. Blue oceans, green lands, clouds, and cities. "Beautiful," she whispered. "Loud, but full of light." "That's home," Ravi said. "Do you miss it?" "Yes," he said, looking at the photo. "But maybe this place needed me more." Alarin looked at him again, her voice softer now. "Why are you really looking at me like that, human?" Ravi paused. He wasn't sure of the answer. Maybe it was wonder. Maybe it was sadness. Or maybe it was because she was the first being he had met who made him feel something real. On this cold moon. "I don't know," he said honestly. Suddenly, a loud cracking sound echoed through the trees. Alarin stood up at once. Her robe tightened. Around her, her glowing hands formed a shield of light. "What was that?" Ravi asked, jumping to his feet. She looked toward the noise. "A watcher, small creature. Not dangerous yet, but not alone. We should hide." She nodded. "Follow me." She led him through the mist, moving quickly but silently. Ravi tried to keep up. The mist parted for her like it knew her. After 10 minutes, they reached a cave hidden behind tall vines and glowing flowers. Inside, the air was warmer. Crystals covered the walls, pulsing softly. "This is your home?" Ravi asked. "One of many," she said. "I move often." They sat down again. The crystals glowed softly, lighting their faces. "Thank you," Ravi said, "for not letting me get eaten." She smiled faintly. You're not very good at surviving here. I was better in space. He admitted. Alarin looked at him. Maybe your skills can help me, and maybe I can help you. Ravi nodded. I think we're stuck with each other now. She looked at him again, her eyes calm but deep. And you're still looking at me, he smiled. Still trying to understand who you are. And I, she said, am still trying to understand why I don't want you to leave. They sat in silence again, this time not cold or awkward but peaceful. The forest outside whispered. The stars above blinked, and deep underground, something ancient stirred. The sky above Verena 9 was filled with dark clouds. Lightning cracked across the heavens. A small human ship, damaged and shaking, burst through the atmosphere. Inside, Ravi, a young human engineer, was fighting the controls. Sparks flew. Warning. Lights blinked all around him. Come on, stay with me, Ravi shouted, pulling hard on the lever. The ship hit the ground with a loud crash. Trees snapped, the earth shook, and then silence. Hours passed. Ravi woke up inside the broken cockpit. His head hurt, and blood ran down his arm. But he was alive. He unbuckled his seatbelt and climbed out slowly. Smoke rose from the back of the ship. One engine was gone. The radio was silent. His oxygen reader blinked red. This is not Earth, he whispered. All around him stood tall silver trees covered in thick blue mist. Strange sounds came from them. Shadows. He couldn't see more than 20 feet ahead. He checked his supplies. Food for 4 days. Water for 2. A solar charger. A small laser tool. A blanket. Not enough for long. That night, Ravi built a small camp beside his ship. He made a fire from broken branches. The mist glowed faintly in the firelight, like it was alive. As he sat near the fire, eating dried fruit, he heard it, a sound soft, light, and distant footsteps. He stood up quickly. His hand went to the laser tool. But nothing came out of the mist, just silence again. He didn't sleep much that night. The next morning, Ravi explored the area. He marked trees with cuts, so he wouldn't get lost after an hour. He found something strange, footprints in the wet ground. They weren't his. And they weren't animal tracks either. They were small, narrow, and had only 2 toes. He knelt and touched the print. Someone's here, he said quietly when he returned to camp. More things were odd. His blanket had been moved. One food packet was missing. And his fire was still warm, even though he'd put it out. Someone or something had visited him. That night, he stayed awake, hiding behind a log. The fire crackled softly. He waited, heart beating fast. Then he saw her, a shape in the mist, glowing faintly, slowly stepping closer. She had skin like silver light, long dark hair, and eyes that shimmered like stars. She wore a strange robe that floated gently, even without wind. She stopped near the fire, looked around, and then bent down to touch them. Flames. Ravi stood slowly, not wanting to scare her. She turned sharply, eyes wide. For a long moment, they stared at each other. Then she vanished, not ran, not walked, just disappeared into the mist. Like a ghost. The next day, Ravi thought he had imagined it. Maybe it was the crash. Maybe he was just tired, hungry, and scared. But the footprints were back, and another food packet was gone. Why take only one at a time? He wondered aloud. That night, he left out a small meal beside the fire and sat far away. Hidden again, the glowing figure returned. She walked slower. This time, carefully, she looked at the food, then at the fire. She sat down. Ravi didn't move. He watched. After a few minutes, she looked up. Why are you looking at me like that, human? She said, her voice calm and clear. Ravi froze. She spoke his language. She looked into the darkness where he hid, her shining eyes meeting his. You speak English? Ravi asked, stepping out slowly, hands raised. The alien princess tilted her head. I speak many tongues. This one is old but useful. Ravi stepped closer. Who are you? She didn't answer right away. She studied his face, as if trying to understand something deep inside. Then she said, I am Alarin. I am the last of the Moonborn. She stood up. You should not be here. I crashed, Ravi said. I didn't mean to come. Alarin turned. No one comes here by mistake. This place is forgotten for a reason. Before he could ask more, she walked into the mist and was gone again. That night, Ravi couldn't sleep. The fire flickered low. The mist rolled in. His thoughts raced. Alarin, Moonborn, the last of her kind? She didn't seem dangerous, but something about her eyes. They had seen too much. He looked out into the dark trees and whispered, "Why are you looking at me like that?" And for the first time since crashing, he didn't feel alone. Each morning, the mist returned to the forest, and the silver trees stood like quiet guards. Birds with crystal wings flew above, and strange animals watched from the shadows. But Ravi was no longer afraid. He had a guide now. He had Alarin. She visited him every day. Sometimes she brought fruit or glowing water from underground springs. Sometimes she said little and just sat near the fire. Other times, they walked through the forest, and she showed him how to avoid danger. But one day, she said something new. "There's something I want to show you," she told him, her voice serious. Ravi stood quickly. "What is it?" "Part of my past," she said. "Buried below." Alarin led him deep into the forest. The path was narrow, filled with sharp rocks and thick roots. The mist grew heavier as they went further. Even the birds were silent here. After a long walk, they reached a hillside covered in vines. At first, it looked like part of the forest, but when Alarin touched one of the large stones, it lit up with a blue symbol. A hidden door opened, revealing a dark tunnel. "What is this place?" Ravi asked, eyes wide. "A vault," Alarin replied. "A memory of who we once were." They stepped inside. The tunnel was long and quiet. Crystals lined the walls, lighting up as they walked. Strange carvings showed tall figures with wings, flying ships, and stars. It felt like a museum, but forgotten by time. "This was built by your people?" Ravi asked. "Yes," Alarin said, "before the swarm came." She stopped in front of a large door and placed her hand on it. The door slid open with a deep hum. Inside was a massive round room. In the center, a large device floated, a machine made of silver and light, with a glowing core. Around it were broken screens, chairs, and walls covered in dust. "This was a heart of knowledge," she said quietly, "a place where we learned and remembered." Ravi walked slowly around the machine. "What happened here?" "When the swarm attacked, we sealed many places like this. Some were destroyed. This one survived." He looked at her. "Can it be fixed?" Alarin nodded slowly. "With time, with skill. But I cannot do it alone." Ravi smiled. "Then it's a good thing I'm an engineer." For the next several days, they worked side by side. Alarin showed Ravi how the Moonborn tech worked. It was different from human machines. It used crystal energy and light paths instead of wires. The devices responded to thought, emotion, and harmony. Ravi found it hard at first, but he learned fast. He used his tools to clean and reconnect broken parts. He wrote small programs in his wristpad to speak with the vault systems, piece by piece. The room began to wake up. One evening, as they repaired a damaged screen, Ravi asked, "Why did the swarm attack your people?" Alarin paused. "We never knew. They did not speak. They only destroy." She touched the screen gently. "We tried to make peace. We sent messages, songs, lights. Nothing stopped them." "Did they chase you here?" She nodded. "This moon was a safe world, empty, quiet. But the swarm found us anyway." She looked down. "I was on the last ship to escape. It broke. I fell. The others, I never heard from them again." Ravi placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're not alone anymore." That night, the vault center machine hummed louder than before. Lights danced across the ceiling. Images of star maps appeared, showing other moons, planets, and ancient routes of the Moonborn ships. Alarin watched with wide eyes. "I thought it was lost." "What is it?" Ravi asked. "The star path," she said. "A map of where we once traveled, places where survivors may still be hiding." Ravi stepped closer. "You could find your people again." She nodded. "If the ship still works." "What ship?" She turned to him. "There's a hidden one. beneath the mountains. But it's broken too. Ravi smiled. Then let's fix that one next. Alarin looked at him for a long moment. Her eyes were soft. You offer help freely, she said. Why? Ravi didn't answer right away. Then he said, because I think we're meant to help each other. Maybe I was sent here for a reason. She walked closer, standing in the glowing light of the star path. When I first saw you, I thought you were just another lost creature. Ravi laughed. I am lost. But now, she continued, I think you might be the key to everything. Outside, the forest trembled. The mist thickened. Far away, deep underground, something stirred, a dark presence waking from sleep. But for now, inside the vault, two beings from different worlds stood together, one human, one moonborn surrounded by broken memories and glowing hope. Ines. Alarin looked into Ravi's eyes. She whispered, if we build again, maybe we can rise again. The days on Verena 9 passed slowly. But Ravi and Alarin were no longer just surviving, they were building. Inside the ancient vault, machines hummed once more. The star path map floated in the air. Spinning gently, it showed glowing lines and DOT's worlds, moons, passed across the stars. It gave Alarin hope that her people might still be out there, somewhere. Outside, the forest seemed quiet. Too quiet. One morning, as Ravi was checking the solar panels he had set up near the broken ship, he heard a faint buzzing sound. At first, he thought it was just an insect, but when he looked up, his heart skipped a beat. Something floated in. The sky. It was round, black, and silent. A small drone about the size of a football with blinking red lights. Ravi quickly dropped behind a rock and watched. The drone moved slowly, scanning the area. It passed over his ship, paused, then turned toward the forest. Ravi didn't move until it vanished into the mist. That evening, Ravi rushed to the vault and told Alarin. A drone? She asked, her face serious. Yes, it wasn't moonborn. It was human tech. Alarin looked away. Then they have found you? And they are looking for me? Ravi asked. Or you? Both, she said. But more for me. She walked to the star path and touched a symbol. A small screen appeared, showing a human ship's design. Alarin spoke calmly. Long ago, your leaders learned about my kind. Some wanted to meet us. Others wanted to use us. Ravi frowned. Use how? Our bodies, our energy, our knowledge. She said, your commanders fear what they don't understand. They believe I am dangerous. That's not true, Ravi said firmly. They won't care. She replied, they'll try to capture me or destroy me. Ravi stood up. Then we hide. We move deeper. Or we fight. Alarin placed a hand on his arm. No, if they come, you must leave. I'm not leaving you, Ravi said. She looked into his eyes. You're still looking at me like that. And I always will, he answered. That night, the forest changed. The mist moved faster. The ground felt colder. Strange lights flickered among the trees. Alarin whispered, the swarm watches too. Ravi looked at her. The swarm, you said. The forest hides us from them. It did, she said. But the vault is awake now. The lights. The energy. It can call to more than just humans. Ravi nodded slowly. So now we're between two threats. One from above, she said, and one from below. The next day, they worked faster. They moved parts from Ravi's crashed ship into the vault. Wires, batteries, lenses, anything useful. Alarin used moonborn tools to boost the crystal power. Together, they built a stronger shield around the vault. One that could block scans and signals. But it wouldn't last forever. On the third night, they saw it again, the drone, but this time, it brought friends. 3 more hovered above the trees. They circled the area like hawks. Ravi frowned. They're searching in a pattern. They are mapping, Alarin said. The ship will come soon. Ravi checked his wristpad and opened his old signal log. He tapped into the drone's frequency. Static filled the screen. But one message came through. Target confirmed. Prepare ground team. He turned to Alarin. A team is coming. Maybe soldiers. Then we must decide, she said. Do we run or do we stay and finish the ship? Ravi hesitated. He looked around the vault at the glowing star path. the crystals, and the ancient tech. They were so close. We stay, he said. We finish what we started. That night, as they rested in the cave, Ravi stared at the firelight dancing on the walls. Ilaren sat beside him, her head lowered. You're quiet, he said. I'm thinking, she replied. About what? She looked at him. What happens if we fail? We won't, but if we do, she said softly. You must promise to escape. I won't leave you behind, he said again. She looked up, her eyes glowing faintly. You always say that. Why? Ravi gave a small smile. Because I see more than just a survivor. I see someone who refuses to give up, someone strong, someone kind. Ilaren blinked. For a moment, she looked unsure of what to say. Then, slowly, she said, No one has ever looked at me like that. Ravi reached out and gently touched her hand. Maybe it's time someone did. Far above the forest, a human warship entered orbit. Its scanners locked onto the drone signals. Inside, uniformed officers prepared for landing. One of them looked at the screen showing Varanine and said, Prepare the capture unit. Target is not to be harmed unless necessary. Back in the vault, the main engine core of the moonborne ship finally lit up. The walls shook gently as old power systems came. Online.ela stood in awe. It's working. Ravi wiped sweat from his brow. Not perfect, but enough to fly short distance. Maybe to the next moon. Maybe to freedom, she said. But as they celebrated, a loud beeping sound filled the vault. Ravi ran to the sensor panel. His face went pale. They've landed. A team is moving this way. Ilaren took a deep breath. Then this is it, she said. We finish this, or fall trying. The cold air inside the vault was thick with tension. Outside, heavy footsteps echoed through the forest as the human strike team moved closer. Ravi and Ilaren hurried through the ancient tunnels, preparing for what might be their last fight. The moonborne starship rested beneath the mountain, its silver hull dull with dust and years of silence. But now, it pulsed faintly with new life. The energy they had poured in was awakening the giant. Ravi checked the ship's systems again. The lights flickered as the power core hummed steadily. It's almost ready, he said, wiping sweat from his forehead. Ilaren nodded. But we have no weapons, only old defense shields. Ravi frowned. I might be able to jury-rig some. Traps outside. Ilaren's eyes shone brighter. Good, we must slow them down. Outside, the human team advanced carefully. Their suits were dark, designed for stealth, and their weapons glowed with blue light. They moved silently, communicating with hand signals. Their leader, a tall man named Jonas, paused near the edge of the clearing, scanned for life signs. He ordered drones buzzed forward, sending waves of scanning light. Back inside, Ravi and Ilaren set traps around the vault's entrance, sharp crystal shards hidden under leaves. A web of thin wires connected to old power cells, ready to zap any intruder. Ilaren watched him work, admiration clear on her face. You are clever, human. Ravi smiled. Years of fixing machines on Earth. She looked at him seriously. You have brought hope here. The first attacker stepped on a hidden wire and screamed as an electric shock hit him. The team paused, realizing they were not alone. Jonas barked orders. Push forward. Find them. The forest came alive with tension. Twigs snapped, leaves. RUST LED. Inside the vault, Ilaren and Ravi prepared the starship's control room. Lights blinked on the dashboard. Old voices whispered through the ship's computer. Suddenly, an alarm blared. They found us, Ravi said. Ilaren grabbed his arm. We must leave now. Ravi helped Ilaren into the pilot's chair. The ship responded to her touch. The engine roared softly, filling the vault with light. Outside, the strike team broke through the last barriers. Jonas raised his weapon. Now, but the traps worked. Several attackers stumbled and fell. One went down with a small explosion. Ravi and Ilaren raced through the vault's tunnels. The starship doors closed behind them with a heavy hiss. Inside the ship, Ilaren started the launch sequence. The engines hummed louder, lights flashing faster. Ravi looked at the monitors. They're trying to jam our signals. Then we must be faster, Alarin said. The starship lifted slowly, shaking the ground. It rose past the mountain, breaking through the mist. Outside, the strike team watched helplessly as the ship disappeared into the sky. Jonas cursed. They escaped. One soldier looked at the sky. But not for long. We will follow. Inside the ship, Ravi and Alarin breathed heavily but smiled. We did it, Ravi said. Not just survived. Alarin said softly, we live. They looked at each other, two survivors against impossible odds. The ship's computer showed star pops blinking. Where to now? Ravi asked. Alarin smiled faintly. Wherever hope leads us. The starship glided through space, its silver hull glowing softly against the dark sky. Inside, Ravi and Alarin prepared for the worst. They knew the human strike team would follow. And the swarm would not give up their hunt either. We can't hide forever, Ravi said, checking the ship's controls. No, Alarin agreed. But we can fight if we must, Ravi nodded. Then we make a plan. Far below, the swarm stirred. Sensing the energy of the ship's engines, it sent out scouts, dark, shadowy shapes that moved faster than light. They were closing in. Alarin studied the star path map, plotting their next jump. We must find a safe place, she said. Somewhere the swarm cannot reach. Ravi looked at her. And the humans, she sighed. They will follow. We must be ready. Back on Verena 9, Jonas led his team in a search for clues. They found signs of the vaults awakening, the glowing crystals, the trails of energy, and the faint hum of old machines. We almost had them, Jonas said. But they are smart. His second-in-command nodded. We will catch them. Inside the ship, Ravi and Alarin worked quickly. Ravi rigged the ship's old defense systems, connecting crystal energy to create a shield. Alarin activated the weapon's light beams and energy pulses that could hold off attackers. We fight together, she said, like the old Moonborn. Ravi smiled. Then let's show them what humans and Moonborn can do. Suddenly, alarms blared. The ship shook violently. Incoming, Ravi shouted. Outside, dark shapes appeared, swarm scouts attacking the ship. Alarin took the pilot's seat. Ravi manned the weapons. The battle began. Light beams cut through the darkness. The ship shook as blasts hit the hull. Ravi aimed carefully, firing at the closest scout. One exploded in a flash of dark sparks. Alarin maneuvered the ship, dodging attacks and sending bursts of energy toward the enemy. But the swarm came in waves. More scouts appeared, faster and stronger. We can't hold them long, Ravi shouted. Alarin's eyes glowed with determination. We won't give up. She activated the shield. A bright dome of light surrounded the ship, blocking most attacks. Ravi fired the last of the energy pulses. The scouts scattered. Then, on the ship's sensors, another signal appeared, a human ship approaching fast. Humans again, Ravi said grimly. Alarin nodded. We face them now. The human ship locked on. Weapons charged. Ravi prepared the defense systems. The two ships clashed in space. Bright blasts and beams lit the darkness. Ravi and Alarin fought side by side, one human, one Moonborn stronger. Together, after a fierce battle, the human ship retreated. Jonas' voice came over the comm. This isn't over. We will find you. Breathing heavily, Ravi looked at Alarin. We made it, he said softly. She smiled. For now, they knew their journey was far from finished. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. Inside, the survivors, one human, one alien held on to hope. And as they looked at each other, Alarin whispered, Why are you looking at me like that, human? Ravi smiled. Because you gave me a reason to hope. The starship sailed through the silent darkness of space, leaving behind the burning moon of Verena 9. Ravi sat beside Alarin in the small control room, their faces lit softly by the gentle glow of the ship's instruments. Outside the windows, stars flickered like distant fires. The silence was deep, almost peaceful, but it carried the weight of everything they had lost, and everything still to come. Alarin looked at Ravi with her shining eyes. She smiled softly and asked, Why are you looking at me like that, human? Ravi smiled back. Because you gave me a reason to hope. She nodded, a quiet warmth in her expression. Hope is a rare thing now. Ravi reached out and took her hand gently. Not when we have each other. Days passed as they traveled through space, following the star path toward unknown worlds. The ship's energy held steady. But they knew they could not stay long in one place. The swarm and human hunters might find them anywhere. Each day, Ravi and Alarin worked together repairing the ship, learning from each other's knowledge, and sharing stories of their worlds. Alarin told Ravi about the Moonborn's ancient culture, how they loved the stars, music, and peace. Ravi shared stories of Earth, of cities, oceans, and people who dreamed of exploring the stars. One evening, as the ship moved silently past a cluster of distant suns, Ravi asked, "Do you think we will find others like you?" Alarin looked at the star path map, then back at him. "Maybe. The stars are wide and many. Some survivors might still hide." Ravi nodded. "Then we must be ready." But the journey was not easy. The silence of space was sometimes broken by strange signals, messages, and unknown codes, or warnings from far away. The ship's sensors often detected shadows moving just beyond their view. Ravi and Alarin stayed alert. They knew danger was always close. One night, the ship's alarm sounded sharply. "Something's coming," Ravi said, rushing to the control panel. Alarin stood beside him, calm but ready. On the screens, a large dark shape moved past a massive ship of the swarm, glowing with dark energy. "We can't outrun it," Ravi said. "We fight," Alarin said simply. The battle was fierce. The swarm ships sent out dark tendrils of energy, striking the starship's shields. Ravi fired back with everything they had: energy beams, crystal pulses, and the shield's full power. Alarin piloted the ship with skill, dodging and weaving through the attacks. The fight went on for hours. Both ships damaged but unwilling to give up. In the final moment, with the starship's energy almost gone, Alarin made a choice. She activated a secret protocol, jumped through a hidden wormhole in the starpath map. The ship vanished in a flash of light, leaving the swarm ship behind. When they reappeared, the stars looked different, closer, brighter. Ravi and Alarin looked at each other, breathing heavily. "We made it," Ravi said. Alarin nodded. For now, the ship was quiet again. Outside the windows, new stars waited. Alarin turned to Ravi and smiled. "Why are you looking at me like that now?" she asked. Ravi smiled back. "Because I believe we have a future." She took his hand. Together, she said. In the vast silence of space, the survivors, human and moonborn, found hope. Their journey was far from over, but they would face it side by side. Because sometimes the strongest bond is the one formed when two worlds meet, and one looks at the other and says, "Why are you looking at me like that?"